Hello, I'm back for another video. My name is Josh Castic, and today, this is my first podcast for the channel. I don't know if I'm going to do more, but this is kind of our first one, and we'll see how it goes. So today, joining me is AsteroidXArmageddon. If you haven't checked his channel out, more information near the end of the video. Alright, so I'm going to let him start off with the first topic. We're going to go with anime, so I'm going to let him pick what anime he first wants to talk about.
Well then, let's start with an anime that everyone knows and loves dearly, Pokemon. It might not be perfect. I mean, let's talk about the Jupiter incident. But aside from that, it's still an anime that we all hold close because it's our childhood. So.
Right. And when Pokemon first came into my childhood I was about 6 years old, and I would watch the Pokemon anime series before I went to school, and that was the Sinnoh series with Ash, Dawn, and Brock. But I don't remember actually finishing the series. I don't think I really got into the anime until, when I watched the series from start to finish, and that was the Unova series. And overall, I'm not sure if I watched the first series or not. I know my brother had bits and parts of it on VHS. I don't know if I actually watched that or not. But overall, after watching the Unova and then going on to Generation 6 with this X and Y series, I went back to because my library had all the other series, like Hoenn, it had Indigo, it didn't really have much in Johto, so it took me a while before I actually watched the Johto series. It also, it had a complete on Sinnoh, it had a complete on Unova eventually, and I always went to the library, checked all that out, and rewatched it over and over and over again. I don't know how many times I watched the Indigo League, the Hoenn, the Sinnoh, and the Unova, but I watched them all a lot. And overall, I really enjoyed the series. Seeing Ash catch Pokemon, all the different types of Pokemon you get to see, and just seeing the lore and all that type of stuff. It's really beautiful, and I really enjoy watching the series.
Yeah, I started watching Pokemon like it was, kid you not, the Indigo League. That's the first season I started watching. I didn't see all of it, of course, because sometimes you miss some things. As much as I hate saying that, especially about Pokemon, I take Pokemon very seriously. But aside from that, yeah, I started watching Indigo League. But my favorite season has got to be, what is it? Advanced. Yeah, it has to be Advanced because Master Quest and all that stuff was Johto. Advanced is flowing. So you got Advanced Battle, and then you got the what was it called? Battle Frontier, which is probably one of my top favorites.
Right. That is a good series. I give you that. I don't know what my favorite would be. It's kind of hard because I really do enjoy Hoenn, but that was kind of before my time of starting it. I really do like Dawn and that series of Sinnoh. And I also like Unova because it was like I said, my very what I feel like is my first complete entire series. But one part I like about X and Y is the maturity of Ash, as well as kind of his relationship with Serena, because kind of it's a shipping of the characters, and even the writers of the series actually, really liked that shipping and kind of somewhat wrote it into the story, albeit kind of cut off at the end because they did kiss, they just didn't show it. But other than that, I think I would have to go with Unova. It's my first complete series. I really enjoyed the characters. Now, I know a lot of people find it annoying, but I don't know. I just disagree with it. And like I said, I really enjoyed this series.
Interesting. Oh, speaking of annoying things, I know you said that some things were annoying about Unova, and that's how in some instances, Unova wasn't really received well by the general fan base. I guess. Like, I mean, look at Iris and the whole little kid thing. That kind of got old after, like, that got old after a while.
I mean, yeah, that did get kind of old, but overall, I don't really find her annoying. And like I said, I really enjoyed this series, and I think it's really good.
I got to agree with you there. I don't dislike Unova, definitely. Unova probably has the best Team Rocket that the series has ever had, but yeah.
Right, as you said, Unova had the best version of Team Rocket because they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were being villains. They were doing espionage. It was interesting. I was waiting for something like that. And watching the other series, you just tell how much easier it is to enjoy Team Rocket in Unova. They're so annoying in every other series. I mean, it's fine. Their antics is fine if you watch it, like, per se, the first time you ever watch any of the series. And I understand basically how the show is designed. Different series of the Pokemon anime long story is also supposed to appeal to different people because, for new people to come in. And so this is a way for those new people to see what Team Rock is usually like. I understand that, but it's just old. Like, just come up with different writing. It doesn't matter if new people haven't seen what they're like. If they really enjoy Pokemon and they like this series, they could go back and watch the other ones. They don't need to keep watch. We don't need to keep having Team Rocket the way it is. Now, like I said, it's based on whenever you first joined in, but since the entire anime as a whole started with the Indigo League, that's where it should be kept, and then they do something different Team Rocket each generation. That's how I feel like it should have happened, or at least going forward anyway.
Mhm.
Now, in the seventh generation anime series, or the Sun and Moon anime, they did change Team Rocket a little bit based on how they blast off. In this time, they get captured by a Beware Pokemon that takes them back to its home. In my opinion, it is way worse than what usually happens, and I can't stand it. It's just way more annoying and doesn't help anything.
Well, yeah.
Alright, let's move on from Pokemon and let's talk about another anime. Let's talk about Black Clover.
Oh,
Now, Black Clover for me, I kind of started late. My dad told me about it, but I don't know, I just didn't start watching it. And I came in, I watched my dad watch the show, and I was watching the show and I really enjoyed it. So I sat down, and now I've been watching it ever since, and regretting that I didn't watch this earlier because I missed several episodes. So I went back and watched the entire series, and man, is it good. I really enjoy it now. So you are really missing out if you have not seen it yet, and I recommend you need to go see it right now.
you're missing out if you have not seen Black Clover. Plain and simple. I mean, if you like fast paced, like everything, like you got like people shooting spells all over the place, life and death type of thing. I just like the aspect of casting spells. So that's why Black Clover. That's why Black Clover is really one of my top favorite animes as well, alongside with Pokemon. So
Yeah, the magic part in the show is really cool. The action is really awesome. I really do like stories with the magic concept, like Harry Potter. Now, in the show, the magic is limited to based on what your magic is about and whatever your grimoire gives you, whatever spell appears, other than the limitation that I don't like as much. But other than that, it's really awesome and cool to see the magic on screen. Now, since I picked Black Clover, Asteroid X Armageddon, can you please pick the next anime?
how about alongside with Black Clover? What about My Hero Academia? Everyone's got to know that.
Man, that anime is good. If you don't think it's good, then I don't know what planet you come from, but man, it is amazing. And one of the things that I really like about the anime is that you might think that, oh, all the powers you could ever think of have already been done. Well, this anime proves that statement wrong. not only does it come up with so many interesting powers, some powers that you would never think are powers, and even it changes old powers too. It shows old powers in a new way, and that's so cool.
I mean, like, look at what was his name? Tenya Ida. His gimmick is super speed, which let's think about all the superheroes that have super speed. That's one of the most generic thing alongside super strength. But his take is different. He has engines in his legs, which of course it's different. It's not like a Flash. So they do it slightly different. So that's one. I mean, All Might is obviously super strength, but his thing it's built up over time, so it's not like you know what I mean. I think you get the idea.
Yeah, but he also has the power to kind of flick air into an attack, using his really powerful strength or energy to blast it at someone and to attack that really like hurts.
Yeah, he does. He can like launch shockwaves as well. That's another thing. Well, actually, I don't know if that's energy based. Now that I think about it, he's just as was said in the anime. I forgot what episode it was in, but it was when what was his name, Gentle Criminal or whatever, was trying to infiltrate the UA party or the whatever that the festival. He told I mean, All Might told Midoriya how he was able to harness the whole shockwave thing, and it's not energy. It's just him attacking with such strength that he can just send shockwaves at his enemy. So it's literally just air. So I mean, it's not energy.
Well, when I meant energy, I wasn't talking about what is specifically launched. I understand that wind is what is being launched at the enemy, but what I meant was, for one for all is basically the energy. For instance, the output of how much power is being put out, because you have 10%, 20, 50, 100%. That is a calculation not based on how much power to use at once, and that amount of power is energy. So launching the air using strength, you're calculating the right amount of energy of the power to use in order to launch the wind, is essentially what I meant by energy. Now, another thing I like about My Hero Academia is how the main character, Midoriya, wants to save people even though he is quirkless, or in other words, powerless. Even though people tell him, oh, you can't save people, it's dangerous without a quirk to go fight out there and rescue people, he doesn't care about that. He wants to save people. And that's another thing, what makes him a hero versus everyone else, is that he doesn't care about the spotlight. It's not about the spotlight for him. He wants to save people, where a lot of the other heroes are all about the fame as well. And All Might saw this when Midoriya tries to save his friend from a villain, even though he was powerless. And that's why All Might decided to give him his power. He was the chosen to be the next person for One for All. And that is so cool. The idea to never give up, even though what people tell us that you can't do it, is awesome and really good.
That part of you that does not ever want to give up, no matter how people say you can't do it or whatever, something like that.
Right.
You can technically say the same thing about Asta from Black Clover as well.
Yes, you could say that about Asa. Asa wasn't born with magical powers, and in his society that is frowned upon. But he didn't let this stop him. He strengthened his body to become really good and strong, and so hoping that he would get a grimoire. Now, when his best friend Yuno and him were of age to get a grimoire, he wasn't able to get a grimoire because he had no magic. However, Yuno did get a 4-leaf clover grimoire, which is really special. So that's why a villain tries to go after him. Asta tries to save him, almost getting killed, and then out of the blue, he gets granted a 5-leaf grimoire, which is powered by anti-magic. So instead of having magic, he controls anti-magic. And so Yuno and him, after beating that villain, they go off to the capital, and he does become a magic knight, however with difficulty, and now his goal is to get stronger and become the Wizard King.
He wanted to be a Wizard King, you know.
Now, anti-magic is a awesome power. I mean, just think about it. Everyone else has magic, and anti-magic will just dispel all of that. And that's perfect for Asta because Asta doesn't have magical powers. So instead of magical powers, he has anti-magic. And so he could dispel all his enemies. So instead of protecting himself with magical barriers, he can just slash the magic away. And that's cool. But the anti-magic power comes from a dark place.
It's supposed to be an evil power or whatnot, but he uses it for good.
Right. As stated in the anime or how it's described, the five-leaf clover grimoire is actually made by the devil or devils, and therefore it is evil because it is the devil's power. But as AsteroidXArmageddon has put it, Asa uses it for good, to save people.
It doesn't matter what your power is, it's how you use it is what counts. It's basically great power comes great responsibility, Spider-Man, but you get the picture.
Now let's go back to the topic about how their characters have nothing and they are mistreated by everyone, but they didn't let that stop them and they overcame that and became really strong and accomplished their dreams. I feel like if you look at Asta, you look at Midoriya, you could really see how a lot of Shonen Jump properties or the main point of Shonen Jump story is that there's always a character who is powerless or, is mistreated, but they overcome that and become the most powerful character in the end. And I feel like that is a really cool. It's outdone, but really cool. Now, even like animes like Naruto, which is also shown properties the same way, he has necessary a lot of power, but he doesn't really have a lot of skill to use it, especially in the beginning. And he's looked down upon because he has the Nine Tails in him, which the Nine Tails destroyed the village, and the Thorough Kage messed up and basically did not tell the village who his parents were, which is, in my opinion, dumb. But yeah, he people looked down upon him, and then he became the village hero and became one of the most powerful characters in the end. So yeah.
I honestly can't really say much about it because Naruto is actually one of those animes that I don't watch that much of. So I don't have that much say in it. I did watch some of whatchamacallit, what was that show? What was that series called? Shampoodian or Shampooden? Shippuden? I can't pronounce it, so don't yell at me, all you Naruto fans out there. But yeah, I was at a young age when I was watching that series.
Yeah, you actually had it right the last time. It is Shippuden, but nevertheless, let's kind of move on to the next anime pick. I think let's talk about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh yeah, there's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep. But I don't remember exactly when I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! It's kind of weird. I know I've watched all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, or not all of them, but most of them, especially like the beginning ones, a lot or over and over again. But it's kind of weird because Pokemon I actually remember when I started. Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't. Now it started with the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, which was under when my brother was young. He was into Yu-Gi-Oh, and then he decided to grow up and throw out all his cards instead of giving them to me, unfortunately. But it is what it is, and that is a really good series. Next off is GX, which is really what happened with GX is kind of annoying. See, right in the English dub version, there's only 3 seasons, but there's a total of 4. And the 4th season did not get a dub because I think that 4Kids, the one that was dubbing the anime, I think shut down or closed, went to bankruptcy. The gist.
No, it's not around anymore at all. It's not even close. It's gone.
Right. Now, that being said, I think my favorite of all the series is the first series. I know that I didn't grow up with it, that's during my brother's time, but I still think it is the best. I mean, it is the basic, it's the start, but it has 5 seasons and it's really cool and awesome. I do like 5Ds and Zexel. I do like GX, which is, a continuation of the first series, but unfortunately, like I said, it did not get a finished English dub, with the fourth season not being dubbed, which is kind of annoying. And so that's why I really feel like, to this day, the first one is still the best, and I really enjoy it.
My favorite series of Yu-Gi-Oh has got to be 5Ds. I just like the whole aspect of riding on motorcycles while doing the card games, and also like the concept of the motorcycle as well. Also played a part in the duel because I believe what was it called? I think it was called a speed counter or a turbo counter, which allows you to activate certain effects. Like I believe if you have three turbo counters or speed counters, you can like deal like 1,000 life point damage to the opponent, and then like maximum speed count. So I believe it's like six. I could be wrong about that. I haven't watched 5Ds in a while, but if you have max speed counters, I think like summon a whole new monster for free or something. I could be wrong about that, but in like one of the last episodes, one of the characters activated an effect using all of their speed counters. I forgot what it was, but it just added another concept. But there are some times where they make a concept that's too complicated, like link summoning.
Right. Link summoning is very weird. I don't even know. But they always add a new type of summoning method to each series, and it just started getting weird with Arc 5. And what's another annoying thing is with Brains and somewhat Arc 5 is that they don't appear in cable. Even with, I think, another series that's supposed to be out right now is not on cable. It's kind of annoying, and I think I'm kind of done watching new Yu-Gi-Oh series after Brains because I just can't keep up with it because they don't put it on cable anymore, and it's kind of annoying.
Now, Arc 5 was on cable.
Yeah, in the beginning of the show was on cable, but then it disappeared, and I had to go find it on the internet, and it wasn't even worth finishing. It got really weird, and the ending was just what?
All the ending was I forgot her name, but like she, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of I mean any Yu-Gi-Oh fans that's watching this, I'm pretty sure you've seen Arc 5, so I hope I'm not spoiling anything for anyone who hasn't seen Arc 5. But spoilers, of course. At the end of Arc 5, I forgot who she was, but she was supposed to be like the reincarnated like person or something that took out Arc, or not Arc, Zark. I believe that's what his name was. And she succeeded, and she absorbed Zark into her and was converted into a baby. And now I forgot his name. How could I forget the main character's name?
His name is Yuya, but I get it. All the characters from the main character from each series have a similar name. I mean, the series before this one, Zexal, the main character is named Yuma. All they did was switch one letter between that series and this series, so it gets kind of confusing.
Either way, I guess it's probably because I haven't watched Arc 5 in a while too. But he had to go all around the entire world, dueling the other protagonist characters to make her smile, and therefore destroy Zard. But I mean, it is kind of strange of how absorbing that evil and then have it expelled. But I think the point is just happiness can just destroy all evil. I guess that's probably what they're going with when they say do that. But
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense that happiness would destroy all evil, but it was still a weird ending nonetheless. But let's move on. Let's talk about Beyblade now.
yes.
Now, there are a total of 3 series of Beyblade. The one that came out during my brother's childhood, that one I don't know much about. Then came the Metal series, which came out during my childhood. I might be biased, but that is the best in my opinion. I really enjoy watching it. I have all 4 seasons on DVD. The only thing I really don't like about this series is the 4th season. It was a next generation season and mistreated the main character Jinga, as well as ended on a cliffhanger, which is annoying. But other than those 2 things, it's really good and I enjoy it. And then they came out with Beyblade Burst.
Beyblade Burst is a reboot.
At first, Beyblade Burst isn't that bad of a show. It's actually really enjoyable, not as much as the Metal series, but still enjoyable. And you have a main character named Volt, who is not that good of a blader, but you get to see him grow as a blader until he actually became, well, one of the finalists in the final for the big tournament of the first season. And he almost won, but his bay tripped over a crack that it made earlier in the battle and lost. The second season, where you get to see him get even stronger as he is in the world tournament, and at the end he actually became the champion.
But then, but then they started like giving all the protagonist characters the champion title, and like the champion title has been flying all over the place, and it's just, and not to mention every new season, a new protagonist. It's just, I don't know how to take that really. If it's a new protagonist every season.
Right. In the third season, you had a new main character named Iger, and during the middle of the season, Iger beat Volt for the champion title because he had a hidden dark power growing within him. And then he goes and loses it from the antagonist because of overconfidence. This is dumb. First of all, not only did he lose it right away, it took him an entire half of a season to get the title when it took Volt 2 seasons. That's outrageous, and I couldn't even. It was so wrong, I couldn't believe it. At least Volt took it back from that antagonist early on, but then at the end of the season, Volt lost to Iger again. I can't even. Then they did it again in the fourth season with a new protagonist. I don't know what show does that, but that is way too many times. You can't even get attached to the characters because they're not developed enough. I don't want to watch a show like that. This is way too many times, and if they do this again, I'm done with the show.
Yeah, pretty much.
One thing going for Beyblade Burst is the theme songs for each season. Well, I don't remember the first season's theme song, but season 2, 3, and 4 were just awesome. Like, I can't tell you how good they are. If only the Metal series had this good of theme songs, man, they are really good.
Yeah, they hit the hammer on the head with that one, or they hit the nail on the head with that one.
Now, some people might say, oh, Metal Series is bad because Jenga is too OP, he wins all the time. But simply that, first, it's not true. He actually lost several times. But I actually don't have a problem with that because even though it's not relatable, I can picture myself as the main character, and I think that's pretty cool. And just in my opinion.
Yeah, I've heard quite a few people say how powerful Jenga was. Like, I mean, for crying out loud, first season, guy never lost a battle. I mean, he lost one against his father. Well, he was what was it, Phoenix or whatever. Oh, and that one battle with Ryuga. But like, come on, that was at the beginning of the entire show, and there's no way he's gonna beat Ryuga like right there.
Well, I wouldn't say at the beginning of the show. It was somewhere around the middle when he lost to Ryuga, but nonetheless, I still think he's cool.
Oh, there's another thing about Beyblade. Oh yeah, you grew up with Metal Saga. I, on the other hand, also grew up with Metal Saga. But my favorite series has actually got to be the first three Beyblade series. That being Beyblade Let It Rip, Beyblade G Revolution, and Beyblade V Force. Now, like Josh, yeah, you said that you didn't really like those because the Beyblades did not even look like Beyblades. They just looked like tops or whatever.
Do you mean the 3 seasons of the first series, not that each one is a series?
Yes, Beyblade Let It Rip, Beyblade V Force, and G Revolution were all the same series. That's the first. That's the first three.
Yeah, but do you mean 3 seasons?
Well, yes, that's what I mean. The first three seasons, I mean. But yeah, those are my favorites. Even beating out Metal Saga, even though I grew up on Metal Saga. I don't know why. I guess, I mean, it's old. I mean, it looks old compared to Metal Saga and Burst, but like, I don't know. I just like it.
Alright, let's move on from Beyblade. Is there any more anime you want to talk about, AsteroidX?
Well, what other anime do it? Oh, here's an anime that didn't really last that long, though it was only one season. That I mean, after the last episode, that was it. It only had like one season. There was an anime called Scantigo. I don't know if anyone really has seen it that much, but that's another anime.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that series too, but
They just stopped playing it on TV.
right, but at least the creators were nice enough to put the show on YouTube, including the episodes that were not released on TV, so that we could all finish and enjoy. So I definitely recommend the show. I'm going to put a link down in the description for the show so you guys could go check it out. Other than that, the only thing I don't like about the show is that they didn't actually drive the cars. It was more like remote control cars.
You wish they were actually driving the cars along with the vehicular combat.
Right, but now speaking of another anime of racing is the original Speed Racer show. Man, it is awesome. Like, it's really good. They actually drive. If you have not seen it yet, go check it out.
Yes. Oh, speaking of race cars, this is not an anime, but it's really just a television show, a cartoon. Back when Cartoon Network used to have good shows. Well, Battle Force 5.
Man, that show is awesome and cool. I mean, just think about it. People driving unique and awesome looking house cars and battles with them, that's the very definition of cool and awesome. And my only problem with the show is that it ended after 2 seasons. I definitely want more. And there are house cars from it that I don't have, but they're really hard to find, so I can't get them, but I really want them. But other than those two things, it is an awesome show and you should go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Asteroid X, do you want to talk about another anime or move on?
But anime-wise, what other, like, anime?
Well, you don't have to pick an anime.
Oh yeah, I know that. I'm just thinking of other like television shows that we watched as well. I mean, want to go television shows? Let's talk about the Star Wars television shows, starting with Clone Wars.
Yes, that show is awesome. It has good writing, good action, good animation. It is literally one of the best shows in the entire world. I think the only fault is that in certain parts the writing is a little bad, but overall it has great writing. It brought back so many fans as well as saved the prequels for a lot of people, and it's just really, really, really good, and it's better than any of the shows you could find nowadays. Shows nowadays are so dumbed down, they think that they cannot handle stories, action, death is so stupid. This show proves that there are actually people who understand children and what they can actually handle. So if you want to go watch an actual show that has a story, action, I recommend you watching Star Wars The Clone Wars. It's literally the best. By the way, you could comment down why you think the Cartoon Network shows are really good, but I probably won't listen, and I would come up with several reasons why they are not and reply that to you.
It's just being too silly. I mean, look at Teen Titans Go. I mean, Teen Titans Go. Be Cool, Scooby Doo. That's another one.
Right. Those shows are so bad. It started with the animation and Adventure Time. It's so bad I couldn't even finish the show, even though it did have a story. And now all the shows with this animation are so dumbed down. The characters don't act like they're supposed to. Specifically, Teen Titans Go, they don't even act like superheroes, and they do gross things. There is no story, and the action is also dumbed down. I mean, there's not even deaths anymore.
Look at Star Wars. I mean, like, it can be geared towards kids as well as teenagers, and there's death all over it. So people can't really say, oh, death doesn't belong in a kids show. I mean, Star Wars is like, and kids watch that.
Right, but let's move on to the second Star Wars animation show, Star Wars Rebels, which was Disney's first Star Wars animation show after they bought Star Wars and canceled Star Wars The Clone Wars. They brought back Dave Filoni from Star Wars The Clone Wars, which is why the show has really good writing and a good story. But they decided to change the animation, which is not as good as Star Wars The Clone Wars. But I do like the hair in Star Wars Rebels, which is a lot better than Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now, they also dumbed down the action because Disney has this mindset that action is not meant for children, and you can really see that in the first and second season, as well as the Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi battle, because Darth Maul died, but it didn't look like he died, or there was no cuts on him, it didn't even look like he got slashed. It was so confusing.
Yeah, you told me about this. Whatchamacallit, you wanted to see it like the book. As if you read the book, it was explained how he had that cut in the aftermath of that fight, but Rebels didn't do that.
No, it wasn't a book. I just went on YouTube after watching the episode to get explained. But with that being said, the action definitely got a lot better in season 3 and 4. 4 was epic with the action. It was a perfect season finale. Man, it's not as much as Clone Wars, but it was really good and it's really up there. Now, there is Star Wars Resistance, and there's not really much to say about it other than it was okay.
You said you really didn't like. I thought you said you didn't really like Resistance.
Right, that's why I said it was okay, but let's move on. I think we covered all the Star Wars animation shows.
Yeah, I think we just covered all of the Star Wars. You already talked about we got Clone Wars, you talked about Rebels and Resistance.
Then let's talk about the Star Wars movies.
Oh, the Star Wars movies? Okay. My favorite Star Wars movie has Probably has to be New Hope, and it's mainly because of the trench run scene where they have to shoot the ion torpedoes into the exhaust port. I believe that's what it was. Yeah, an exhaust port. But yeah, I just liked the overall story. I mean, it was like the first one released. Technically, it's the first one released, even though it's the fourth one in the series. But because they didn't want to release the prequels first, which I got to admit is probably the best. It's for the best that they didn't release the prequels first, seeing how bad the prequels came off onto the public or fan base or whatnot. But either way, I just
Yeah, that's probably a good thing, but the reason why George Lucas made the prequels last is because he wasn't sure he was going to make the original trilogy if he made the prequels first. But the big main reason is because he wanted to wait until technology got better.
Oh yeah, he wanted to wait for technology to wait up. Yeah, I now that I realize it, I watched a documentary on this. I think it was called Star Wars Behind the Scenes or something. They talked about that. They George Lucas wanted to wait for technology to catch up to his ambitions for episodes 1, 2, and 3. I completely forgot about that. When you mentioned that made me remember that.
Alright, well, my favorite of the Star Wars movies, well, I can't really decide. I like them all equally, but if I was forced to pick one, I would pick The Return of the Jedi because it's a culmination of everything. Luke's a Jedi and the Empire is destroyed. But like I said, I like all the Star Wars movies equally. Now, you might say, how can I like the sequel trilogy? Well, other than the fact that I hated how they mistreated Luke Skywalker and killed him and killed Admiral Akbar, I actually like the sequel trilogy.
Admiral Akbar, I can understand why people would get mad over that. I mean, come on, he's a memorable character. Luke Skywalker. Come on, it's Luke Skywalker, for crying out loud. I can understand why people get mad about that. But the one thing I don't agree with critics like, being mad over something. And two things I can say right off the bat. One, the bombs falling onto the ship at the beginning of the movie. Come on, it's in the book. It's stated that they're magnetic. Get off of that. The other thing was too many female hero characters. I mean, I find that kind of weird as to why people get mad over that.
I didn't want to get political on my channel, but it's the reason why they're complaining is not based on how many female characters there are, it's based on how they're written. People feel like the female political agenda has been written in making the male characters inferior to the female characters because the female characters are so much better. And they feel like the female characters can do whatever they want with little effort and struggle, calling them Mary Sues. But I don't really see it because Rey struggled a lot, and the only things that really came easy to her is because she read Kylo Ren's mind.
Yeah, which I don't think people should. Come on, it's story driven. I don't think that type of thing should hinder a story. Come on, the story should be anything you. I'm sorry, say it again.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there are some things about the sequel trilogy that people disliked that really does not make sense, so.
Alright, let's move on from Star Wars and talk about Marvel.
Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yeah, the MCU. Yeah, you really can't say the word Endgame without referencing the literal movie, let's be honest.
You had to bring this up?
Yeah, like literally every time I say the Endgame of this or the Endgame of this storyline or whatever, Josh over here always says, oh, so we're talking about Avengers Endgame. But anyhow, Endgame, gotta be one of the best movies in Marvel that I've ever seen. Plain and simple.
Endgame is good, but the first Avengers is still the best to me. I mean, it's the first one to culminate characters from single movies into one big team-up movie. I also like the scene where they're all kind of in a circle and the camera goes around them. But what would make that scene better is if Captain America said Avengers Assemble right before the scene started, but nonetheless, this movie is still the best in my opinion.
The weird thing is I haven't seen Marvel's Avengers in a while, and I want to watch it again, but the dumb thing is that it's left behind a price tag on demand, and it's annoying.
You can just borrow my copy. I mean, I have all the MCU movies on DVD/Blu-ray. I even did a video on it.
I'm not surprised. Like, you told me that already, number one, and I expected you to have not only the Avengers movies, but also, all of the Marvel movies in general.
Right, but it's weird to me how many people think that the MCU is ending. Like, they will end. They will stop making Marvel movies when they run out of money, which is pretty much not going to happen unless they do something really outrageous, which I don't know why they would, but things could happen. They definitely won't run out of ideas. I mean, there's so many comic books, they won't run out of ideas until, well, we're basically long dead. But even then, comic books are still coming out today, so I doubt they'll ever run out of ideas, and they could just come up with their new ideas. ideas, that's a possibility. Let's just talk about all the movies that have been announced. We got Black Widow, we got Eternals, we got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, we got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and we got Thor, Love and Thunder, and don't get me started on the Disney Plus show, and even Blade was announced.
I actually forgot that Blade was Marvel. I kid you not, I kind of forgot Blade was Marvel.
Well, he isn't the typical superhero, so I can see why you forgot. But another movie that was announced is Black Panther 2, which is up in the air after Chadwick Boseman, the actor who plays King T'Challa, aka Black Panther, passed away. Now, AsteroidXArmageddon, do you remember me telling you that?
I don't think so. Wait a minute. I know the only thing I remember you telling me Marvel related about the actors is that the actor for Black Panther died. I mean, is that what you're talking about here?
Yes, I mean, I said Black Panther like twice, but okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because that's the only thing Marvel related that I remember you telling me about in terms of the actors. Oh, also, I think if I remember correctly, you also made like a like a tribute video to him on your channel.
Yes, I did make a tribute video for him. I mean, he was a kind person, a great actor, and he'd surely be missed, and Black Panther just wouldn't be the same without him. Well, do you want to end the podcast here?
No, it doesn't matter to me.
Alright, Asteroid X, do you have anything you want to say to the people watching this podcast before we end it?
No, not really. Just stay safe because of the current situation.
Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please leave a like if you did. This is my first podcast, and I don't know if I'm going to do another one. Thank you, Asteroid X, for doing this podcast with me. My YouTube channel website link, as well as my Twitter, is down in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.